Good. So Andrew, 3-ALO t6p, what is it?
Yeah, so it's a proprietary signaling compound, and it's one that we've worked with for quite a while, put through quite extensive trialing, and it's really sort of found a home at this timing.
Yeah.
The reason being is that it's very effective at moving carbohydrates um, within the plant. So the plant spent the last couple of months building up a lot of carbohydrate in all its leaves, stems, roots, and we're using 3-ALO t6p to signal for that plant to move more efficiently all that stored carbohydrate up into the harvestable grain or fruit of the crop.
So we're stood here next to a crop of oats. We've got some wheat behind us. The two key crops Agrovista would use it on. What other crops might we consider T6P?
Yeah, so it's now CE mark registered in Europe, which is very exciting for the Union business.
Yeah.
As we move out into Europe and other regions within the world, we sort of move into lots of novel crops. So ones that we might see in the UK are corn or maize.
Yeah.
So we found quite a nice timing around sort of tasseling. Perhaps if you're going to be putting a fungicide on, it would be a good time to include it there. In and around bulking and potatoes seems to be a very effective timing. Top fruit, we look at that sort of onset of sort of fruit set or early stages of fruit growth.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whenever the agronomist or the farmer's looking to utilize 3-ALO t6p in the best way, they want to be thinking about the bit that we're going to be harvesting. So if that's a grain, we're looking at sort of grain development, or if it's a root crop, it's bulking of the tuber. Tends to be the best timing.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, a couple where we might look at them as well. Beans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beans with a flowering spray and sugar beet. I mean, you've done some interesting early work with looking on sugar beet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had some really good independent small plot trials last year on the North Norfolk coast, looking at a range of Union products at different timings on sugar beet. But I don't think it's any surprise that the product that moves sugar within the plant had a very positive effect on a sugar beet crop.
Yeah.
So the two timings for that were within the two with the two fungicides. So
Yeah.
that went on in June and in September.
Yeah.
And really, sugar beet are using these massive solar panels, these big leaves, to convert sunlight into sugar, and then we're just using the T6P to move as much of that into the root as possible.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, the other one that strikes me with 3-ALO t6p is stress. So nearly every biostimulant claims stress, doesn't it? But when you read some of the scientific papers for T6p, it talks very much about stress. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a really interesting one. So this trehalose pathway within the plants, in terms of plant biology, it's quite a recent discovery. So it's only sort of 20 years since it's been discovered within the sort of research world. One of the things that we know about trehalose and T6P is that it sort of primes the plant to overcome stress. So this season's a great example. Plants have been going through quite a long period of stress due to dry conditions, but then we've had some rain. So they've sort of, in a lot of areas now, moved out of that stress. 3-ALO t6p can be used to sort of prime the plant to overcome the stress whenever it is alleviated more quickly, which is a really interesting side effect from the product.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about, if you're thinking of the foods kind of there when we spray it, quite often for the crops we're applying it, it's late spring, summer, where maybe we're going to have a bit of drought stress.
Certainly
as
where
well.
we're stood at the minute in East Anglia,
Yeah.
I think during all my time here, we come under some form of stress. It tends to be just how long that's for in the spring.
So Andrew, with 3-ALO t6p, what might the grower expect from putting on an application on a range of crops?
So we do extensive trials across a whole range of crops, and what we found really is that it's a little bit horses for courses. If we're looking at oats where we might have spec weight concerns, we kind of want to get that later timing to maybe try and improve spec weight.
Yep.
If we improve spec weight, hopefully we do then also increase yield. If we look at wheat, again, we're looking at outright yield
Yep.
most of the time, but again, there is a quality aspect. If we can promote spec weights, especially in the varieties that what they struggle,
Yeah.
that can be an added benefit. With potatoes, we're looking at bulking really, and it's probably more the sort of consistency of the bulking. So we talk about sort of tightening that bell curve. We want less of the smalls and more of the crops inside that sort of marketable yield
Yeah.
area. That probably could be taken right across the sort of most of the fruit crops, veg crops. Is we want to move as much of the harvestable product into the marketable
Yeah.
sort of yield side. Sugar beet's a really interesting one because we have the root yield, which we know that we can have a very positive impact on, but we also have the sugar content of the root. So not only are we moving the root yield, but we're also improving the adjusted yield
Yeah.
by improving the percentage of the sugar within that root as well.